I know, I know, I know. I said I was going to cover football in my next video at the end of my last video, but I forgot that the Hall of Fame inductions, or non-inductees should I say, was to be announced today or yesterday. Yeah, because I'm in a different time zone. I'm ahead of everyone in America seeing this, but nobody inducted? Wrong. The fact that literally nobody got inducted. This is a joke, as you can see from the title. I'm not happy with this. But anyways, before we continue, please remember to like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell. Yeah, I'm going to rant a little bit today, and then we're going to talk about some moves that happened because some more baseball news happened. So I got to get that out of the way before I get on to football again. So let's play the intro, and yeah, stay tuned to hear me rant. So here are the results for this year's Hall of Fame ballot, and I'm honestly not shocked that no one got inducted, but it's definitely a joke. Barry Bonds, regardless of steroids, and Roger Clemens, regardless of steroids, they were must-watch TV in their primes, especially Barry Bonds. And people my age will tell you that they fell in love with baseball because of Barry Bonds. For me, it started with Derek Jeter, but Barry Bonds was also someone that helped me fall in love with the game. And also, Sammy Sosa's on this ballot. And yeah, Mark McGwire got knocked off a while ago. I don't remember when he got knocked off, but I talked about this in the Yankees Chronicles podcast that I was in a few weeks ago, and these guys, they were must-watch TV during that 1998 home run chase. Even though the Yankees were arguably the greatest team ever in 1998, people were turning the TV on to see McGwire and Sosa break Roger Maris's home run record, not to see the Yankees win 114 regular season games and win 125, including the postseason. And Barry Bonds, 73 home runs in a season, and also, as we all know, most all-time home runs with 762. And in his glory days in San Francisco, it felt like he was either going to hit a home run or get intentionally walked. Like, it felt like that was literally every single time he came up to plate that was going to happen. And to see him hit the ball into the McCovey Cove, like, how is that not must-watch TV back then? And I will argue it to death that Barry Bonds is the greatest player of all time. You're not going to change my mind. Like, if you want to try to change my mind, good luck, because chances are you won't. And sure, he may not have any World Series rings, but for most of his career, he wasn't on a lot of great teams, and to me, winning holds more weight in basketball than it does in baseball. Like, for example, even though I'm a huge Yankees fan, I'm not going to act like Derek Jeter was ever better than Mike Trout, even though Derek Jeter has those rings and Mike Trout has only one postseason appearance in his whole career. But even before the juicing, or before we knew he was juicing, he was a legit five-tool player. 8 gold gloves, only player in Major League Baseball history to hit 500 or more home runs and steal 500 or more bases. And he's a member of the 40-40 club. I don't care if he took steroids or not. In fact, Bud Selig, he allowed it this whole time until 2003. Or actually, 2005 was when they started disciplining players for testing positive. But 2003 was when they started to care at all. But Bud Selig was the one who allowed this to happen. And he's in the Hall of Fame because commissioners are just automatically going to get in. And the guys in the steroid era, the guys who dominated that era, don't get in. Like, I think that that's a really ridiculous double standard. And Roger Clemens, 7 Cy Young Awards, over 300 wins, over 4,000 career strikeouts. Now, his ERA with the Yankees was the worst of all the teams he's pitched for, but Clemens did have some really dominant postseason starts with the Yankees, though, including a complete game shutout against the Mariners when A-Rod was a Mariner in the 2000 ALCS. 1 hit, 15 strikeouts that game with the Red Sox, and also he won the Cy Young with the Blue Jays both years he was with them, and he was really good with the Astros towards the end of his career. Yankees, though, that's the only team he won the World Series with. He did win a Cy Young Award with the Yankees, although, to be honest, I don't think he actually deserved that. I don't think he was even the best pitcher on his own team that year. Mike Mussina had a better season that year, but regardless of that, yeah, it's time to induct Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds into the Hall of Fame. Sure, not the classiest guy by any means at all, but neither are plenty of guys that already are in the Hall of Fame. Like Babe Ruth openly cheated on his wife wherever he went. Ty Cobb wanted to fight everyone, although those claims that him and Tris Speaker were in the KKK, that's never actually been confirmed. But regardless, Ty Cobb was not exactly a friendly guy anyways, and Mickey Mantle was drunk a lot. That's why he was injured a lot. So if you want to go by being a model citizen, well, there are plenty of guys already in the Hall of Fame that were not exactly model citizens. And I would say even Sammy Sosa as well. I mean, the guy hit over 600 home runs, and he has more 60 plus home run seasons than any other player to ever play. And Manny Ramirez also fell short, which was expected, but yes, he should be in too. And he was a Yankee killer. I couldn't stand him when I was a kid. Next year with A-Rod and Big Papi, I'd say Big Papi definitely has a better chance, but even he's not a lock, even though both should be a lock. A-Rod was my favorite player growing up, but even if I hated A-Rod like most non-Yankee fans, yes, he should be a Hall of Famer. Now, yes, I understand the whole biogenesis scandal is something that's going to really hurt his case, but still. Over 600 home runs, just 4 short of 700, and also over 3,000 hits, and he was a Gold Glove shortstop. In fact, he was actually the better shortstop than Derek Jeter. He moved to third base instead of Jeter because he was actually much more capable of making the transition, and also Jeter just didn't want to give up his position at shortstop. And also a World Series champion. Oh, and I cannot forget 3 MVPs, including his first one, which was with the last place team. And you have to be pretty amazing to win the MVP with the last place team. Yes, I'm not gonna lie, A-Rod was a diva when he played for the Yankees. I don't think that's deniable, but nonetheless, he was a Hall of Fame player, a generational talent. And Big Papi, Yankee killer, another guy I couldn't stand as a kid, but he's definitely a Hall of Famer for the things that he accomplished on the baseball field, being a 3-time World Series champion, greatest DH ever, extremely clutch. I think you pretty much get the point. These guys need to be let in. They were the best baseball players of their time. And the guys that didn't test positive, or guys that haven't been suspected of use, how do we know for a fact that they never actually touched steroids? I'm not going to say they definitely did. I don't know that for a fact, but I would not be shocked, to be honest. That's just how I feel. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying I would not be shocked because of the era that they came up in. These guys were your money makers. They made the game more popular, and you're gonna not let them in the Hall of Fame because of something that they did that is looked down upon now, and there was nothing enforced back in their day. I mean, okay, A-Rod with the biogenesis scandal, yes, things were enforced, but Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, those guys before 2005 when nothing was enforced. And okay, Manny Ramirez, yes, he got suspended twice when things were enforced, but still, he was a Hall of Fame player. I'm not going to deny that he didn't have the Hall of Fame accolades, but at least the guys who were juicing before anything was enforced, those guys at the very least should be in. And going down the list of guys who've been suspended for PEDs, you can see that a good chunk of these guys were not star level players. So, as you can see, just PEDs alone will not guarantee stardom at all. You have to be pretty gifted no matter what, juicing or not, to succeed at the major league level. And you still have to put the work in even when you juice. It's not like you can juice and you'll just become a superhuman overnight. Curt Schilling, though, another guy, he was actually the leading vote getter this year, and he's the guy that I have the least amount of sympathy for. If he was a better person, then yes, he'd be a Hall of Famer because he was that good of a baseball player, but the kind of person that he is, the huge bigot that he is, that's what makes me not feel bad for him at all. Although, if we ignore that, he is 100% a Hall of Famer with over 3,000 career strikeouts, a 3-time World Series champion, World Series MVP, NLCS MVP. Yeah, he was a dominant postseason pitcher and a really good regular season pitcher too. He made 6 All-Star games and a career 3.46 ERA. That's pretty solid, although his other stats, I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm actually going unscripted right now, but Curt Schilling, the baseball player, easily a Hall of Famer. Just Curt Schilling, the person, trash. And also looking at the rest of the ballot, the fact that Omar Vizquel got more votes than Andrew Jones, that is a disgrace. And by the way, I'm someone that really likes defense, but Andrew Jones should have easily gotten more votes than Omar Vizquel. Now, yes, towards the end of Andrew Jones' career, he got fat and lazy, but 10 Gold Gloves, and while Omar was a defensive god at shortstop, Andrew Jones was not only a defensive god in the outfield, but one of the most powerful hitters of his prime. And yes, offense does hold more weight as much as I do like defense. And offensively, Andrew Jones was just significantly better and Omar Vizquel got more votes. Like, how did these writers actually have a say? I'm flabbergasted. So after everything I just said, if they just want to eliminate all steroid users from the Hall of Fame, as much as I disagree with that, and by the way, there are guys that used banned substances back then, well, substances that would be banned today, that are already in the Hall of Fame. As much as I disagree with this way of thinking, if you want to think that way, whatever. But to vote nobody in at all, to me, that is just an utter disgrace. And the guys that are voting, the writers, like, something needs to change here. Because I don't understand how the guys that are voting right now are allowed to have a say, because their thinking, in my mind, is just totally illogical. So Scott Rowland was the next leading vote getter after Schilling, Bonds, and Clemens, and according to Baseball Reference, his Hall of Fame statistics would say he's not quite a Hall of Famer, but I'd still much rather have him alone make the Hall of Fame than nobody at all. So okay, that's it for my rant about the Hall of Fame. You get it. I'm not happy with what the results are, even though I'm not exactly surprised. So now let's talk about some moves that were made. First, Marcus Semien to the Blue Jays. Yeah, their lineup just got even deeper. Yes, Marcus Semien is coming off a bad 2020 season, but he was an MVP candidate in 2019, and overall he does make their lineup deeper, but they still need some pitching to be a legitimate contender. On a one-year deal though, it's not really a risk to have Marcus Semien, considering that he had an MVP season in the last full season there was in Major League Baseball. Andrelton Simmons to the Minnesota Twins on a one-year $10.5 million deal, and if I were a Twins fan, I wouldn't complain. You get Jorge Polanco moving to second base, and he's a horrible shortstop. Second base is at least passable, I think, but Simmons is shortstop. Now, yes, his defense has regressed over the years, but he is the best defensive shortstop since Omar Vizquel nonetheless, and I'd definitely rather have him at shortstop than Jorge Polanco. So, not a bad move for the Twins. Offensively, he's not going to give you any power at all, but he's at least someone who can put the ball in play. Although, he's also not someone who will walk a whole lot either. Lastly, JT Realmuto staying in Philly on a record-breaking contract. He's now the highest paid catcher ever. And for the Phillies, okay, now with him, they're probably not going to be a rock-bottom team because JT Realmuto's a really good player. Although, they're probably not going to make the playoffs with or without him. Although they obviously have a better chance with him, but even with him, they're definitely not better than the Mets, Braves. And if the Marlins keep doing what they did in 2020, yeah, they're not going to be better than them, or probably not even the Washington Nationals. So, well, at least they're actually trying to spend. At least they're showing that they didn't just bring in Bryce Harper for all that money for no reason at all. Although this very easily could be an overpay in the long run, especially if the electronic strike zones happen, because then you're not going to be able to frame anymore, and you know JT Realmuto's an excellent framer, and JT Realmuto's going to stay under contract until he's 34, so that's another risk there, but he was bound to get overpaid anyways, and, well, at least the Phillies are showing that they're at least trying to stay competitive, even if they don't have what it takes right now, and I really wish Joe Girardi could succeed there, but honestly, he walked into a bad situation, and I hate to see it happen because I still love the guy to death, but alright, that's where I'm going to wrap it up today, so, again, please remember to like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and also hit the notification bell, and I promise I will talk about football. I just haven't gotten around to it because of all the baseball stuff going on, but I will get to football. Alright, so that's where I'm ending, so see you next time. Have a good one.